Hello, I'm Genesis, and I'm Eric Allen. I'm Joe Drilling.
I seem to have partnered up with an auctioneer for this evening's Genesisn't.
Uh, Genesisn't, where I play Genesis games that I haven't played and then say if I like them or not. Because I haven't played a lot of them, although now I guess I kind of have played a lot of Genesis games. We have not yet touched this series. Pardon me, I'm choking. This is tonight we decided to do Streets of Rage because I don't know, they're making a fourth Streets of Rage game.
They're making a fourth Streets of Rage game.
I don't know how much time I've actually spent playing Streets of Rage 1. Joe and I played through Streets of Rage 2 at PAX East in like 2012
the
or
first
something.
year we were both there, yeah.
Right, and I had played Streets of Rage 2
I think it was,
that.
actually.
Was it? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I think so.
But I would say Streets of Rage 2, probably the best beat 'em up.
Like ever, period, full
Yeah.
stop?
Does that seem fair?
I don't agree with that statement, but I certainly accept it if you think that. I will not harsh your mellow when it comes to that, because I think that's a legitimate stance that I don't agree with personally.
I like Blaze. I like the kid on the roller skates.
Skate. I like Max.
Pretty good. The music is goddamn great. I think it has a really good move set for all the characters. Like, there's just enough variety in play styles and move sets and stuff to keep it fresh without becoming like cumbersome with too many different things you can do.
That's the fine line that that a good beat 'em up has to walk, right?
Right. You don't want to be doing like fighting game inputs in a fucking beat 'em up. But at the same time, if all you're doing is hammering on the same buttons over and over again, it gets pretty boring. So.
Right. Exactly. So as far as the Street Fighter thing goes, a lot of people say like Final Fight 3 is super dope, but it has that and it's sort of cumbersome in a beat 'em up. Like, I don't mind basic inputs like double tap, like a Battle Circuit, which I just did a video on earlier this month. Battle Circuit has some like double tap and then like jump and like double jump and do a thing, you know, to do moves, but it does not have any
like quarter circle, half circle.
It doesn't have any quarter
motions or anything
circle,
like that.
dragon punch, you know, yeah. And but I think there is a serious line of depth and simplicity unless you're getting I mean, I talked about God Hand quite a bit during our PS2 draft. That game I think is very complicated, but I think it works. But I also get people who say they don't like God Hand because it's too complicated. Like, I totally get it.
Yeah, I mean that game is also like that's on the border between a beat 'em up and a third-person character action game like Devil May Cry or something.
Kind of, but I feel like it's almost like Chrono Trigger in the way that it's the logical continuation or evolution of this genre that nobody else has managed to replicate in any meaningful way. You know, it's where the beat 'em up was going and really should have gone, and that now that, you know, sort of cheaper indie games and stuff are the thing, it's just beat 'em ups have gone back to being this sort of belt scrolling, you know, false 3D perspective 2D art style beat 'em up, which is, I mean, I like that, but
there's a lot of those.
Yeah,
there's a lot of those. It's pretty hard to get excited about one of those these days.
I'm excited about Streets of Rage 4 though.
Are you? You know why? So I was listening to the Giant Bombcast today, which is where I received the news that they were making Streets of Rage 4. And they brought up a really good point, which is that if you're making a Streets of Rage game and you don't have a Yuzo Koshiro soundtrack, then why even bother?
Yeah, there's
like
no
at that point you're not really
way.
Right. Well, if it doesn't have a Yuzo Koshiro soundtrack, then why call it Streets of Rage? I think that's a fair point. I think that if it doesn't have a soundtrack done by that composer, then you're just making a beat 'em up. You're not really making a Streets of Rage game.
I will be disappointed if he's not involved, but I will not. That will not stop me from playing it. But I will be disappointed. But so part of the reason that I'm excited is because
The trailer was definitely not Yuzo Koshiro music.
No, but it was also like a modern update, sort of throwback to the original like intro theme for this game, kind of, but with more guitars. The thing that I like about it, so Lizard Cube, did you play the Wonder Boy Dragon's Trap remake?
I never did play that,
Lizard
but it
Cube
looked
made?
really good, and I always meant to. I just never got around to it, but it looked really good. I love that updated, like, that's one of the few games where they updated like pixelated art style, and it looks better than the old pixel art did.
It looks a lot better. That game is actually pretty, because you can switch on the fly, and actually you can lock it half and half if you toggle with it enough. Like, because it does like a wipe. So if you like kind of do it on off on off on off, you can get it to stick. So you like half the screen is Sega Master System and half the screen is the new art style. And it's not a very visually interesting game. The sort of the forms that Wonder Boy takes are charming in their own way, like the way that the little dragon looks and the way that the little, or the lizard man, I should say, you're not actually a dragon.
Right.
The lizard man and the lion man, and they all look kind of charming in their own way, but like the environments are super bland and not very interesting. It's a lot of just like bricks in the back. It's like bricked hallways.
Right.
For a lot of the game, and that art is really gorgeous, and it's not. It doesn't. The problem I have is there was some. Oh, I can't remember what it was. There's some game that I just saw a trailer for, or someone talking about a new sort of indie game. Oh, it was part of the Nindies Nintendo Direct they did this week. And I can't remember which game it was, but it looks like Flash. Like the character's torso doesn't move, and like the arms are very clearly just like separate assets that just swing back and forth, but they don't actually move.
Yeah, I mean that was an okay look in 2008, but
right. But like, Dragon's Trap actually looks like, like they drew frame by frame, similar to Cuphead almost, right? But less work than Cuphead because it plays just like the Master System version. So I love that you can throw pepper shakers in people's faces in this game. You don't have as many frames of animation to work with, so the Dragon's Trap remake was not the lift that it was for Cuphead, obviously, but it's still like, it looks like art, and when the character runs, he runs, not like a sort of weird paper marionette, almost.
Right.
Which is sort of, I remember we had a conversation about this years ago, and I don't know why I remember it, but we were talking about Shank, and then I compared it to the Batman Brave and the Bold game for the Wii from Way Forward. And I love Shank. I think Shank is a great game, but it's
a good game, yeah.
It looks like a Flash. The Shank himself is not super well animated. And the sprites in the Batman Brave and the Bold game look like they were drawn by people who worked on the show, and they animate, more naturally, not like, because Shank kind of moves like a paper marionette.
Right. Well, I mean that was Clay's art. I mean, it still kind of is Clay's art style to a certain extent, but they have definitely gone a long way to make the animation better for that.
I think cool looking one-up icons are an overlooked piece of classic game artwork. Yeah, it that is kind of Clay's, and I love the first couple of Clay games. I didn't get into Don't Starve. Like, I have Don't Starve because I could probably get some
Don't Starve is dope.
or something.
It's a really good, simple, weird one of those.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't know. And then I didn't really.
You just don't. That is not a type of game that you personally would get into.
Right. The survival.
But, yeah. It is a really well put together one of those.
Yeah. And Invisible Ink was just a thing I just did not appeal to me on any level.
Invisible Ink's fucking amazing. That's another game that's not really a Joe game, but it is a really great example of that type of game. And Mark of the Ninja,
like Mark of the Ninja.
Clay's catalog of games is pretty much unfuckable at this point.
Mark of the Ninja was my game of the year it came out, if you recall.
Yeah.
And I think I single-handedly moved it up into our top 5 games of the year by just putting it in the number 1 spot. But that's getting a new updated release on the Switch soon, and
Good.
I'll be buying it again. Yeah, that one's great, and yeah, we got a bunch of news about sort of upcoming vintage games, for lack of a better way of putting it. Onimusha Warlords is being re-released, so I thought it was just on the Switch, but apparently it's on Switch, PS4, and Xbox One, and probably PC, I guess, I assume at some point. Which that felt left field to me, for Capcom to be like, we're doing an HD re-release, not a remake. It's just like, you know, up-res basically, but like we're re-releasing Onimusha for download on modern consoles. That seemed
okay. Like, I don't know, Onimusha is like an okay series.
Yeah, it's Resident Evil with Samurai basically, which I also kind of wonder how people now are gonna. If you didn't play that at the time when it was like an almost PlayStation 2 launch game,
right?
What's the reaction going to be to this, like, sword fighting but with tank controls? Like, if people are expecting Devil May Cry,
did they say like what's that going to cost?
I mean, I would be shocked if it was more than $20, but I don't think they said.
Even $20 seems like a tough ask, honestly.
I mean, I would think somewhere in the 15 to 20. I probably would pay 15 for it, or wait for it to be on sale.
I don't think I'd pay like $10, honestly. I think I'm good on the Onimusha front. Like that game that game was like a solid 7 when it came out. Like,
yeah,
I'm not sure I'm interested in playing that in 2018.
I almost wanted to revisit it just to see how, because I haven't played it since it came out.
Yeah.
And I bought Onimusha 3 at the Midwest Gaming Classic because Mike put it in his, and he drafted it in our PS2 draft.
Yeah.
So
like that's a weird one.
Mike to a certain extent, so I grabbed.
I haven't really played a lot of Onimusha 3, but it's like it has like kind of a crazy story.
The first one is the only one that I played, even though I was kind of wanted to check out the third one because I like Jean Reno.
I gotta say, the artwork in this game is like fucked up in a way that I'm not. Look at this, like this dude. He has no like pelvic area. He's just like legs and then like arms, and he has like a little tiny torso, and that's it.
Are we talking about the
guy with the claws? Yeah.
The guy with the Freddy Krueger guy.
Yeah.
I didn't know. We got through that whole level, and I didn't say "crusty jugglers" one time. Now I have.
I gotta say, this game is fine, but
Krueger.
it's not fucking. It just really makes me want to play Streets of Rage 2.
Streets of Rage 2, yeah. Or did you play Streets of Rage Remake? Speaking of games that were on my Game of the Year list for
yeah, I played
years
that.
came out.
That is a great game. That instead of putting out Streets of Rage 4, they should have just like made an official version of that.
I'm not gonna say instead of. I'm just gonna say in addition to.
Okay.
In addition to.
If we could only have one or the other.
Streets of Rage. I haven't played Streets of Rage 4 yet, so I can't say it. But Streets of Rage Remake is super good. I played through that game like, I don't know, 10 times probably at least. And like the fact
it's
that
really more
Adam,
like
they redrew Adam's sprite so that he would match up with the Streets of Rage 2 style and like have all the attacks and sort of extra stuff that the characters had in Streets of Rage 2 is really dope, because Adam is like, I always play as Adam in the first one. He's also like, I think one of, if not the first, like black protagonists in like a mainstream video game that I can think of. But I never liked that Adam, you know, he's kidnapped in the second one, so Skate is his little brother. But then like in the third one, I was always kind of like, why didn't they bring Adam back?
He's busy.
I guess so. So yeah, so we found out that Onimusha's getting a re-release. We found out about Streets of Rage 4.
What's the other thing?
There were some other things that were, it's not vintage games, but vintage style.
Okay. Well, no, there's another thing from the same company that's doing the Streets of Rage thing.
Windjammers 2.
Right, Windjammers 2, that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. Dot Emu's track record, I honestly think is pretty spotty. I have some of their games that I think are not done super well, but Lizard Cube. Man,
one of us should have bought that Windjammers game and played it. We should have played it when we were all together a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we probably should.
Because now we can actually just play Windjammers.
Well, the Windjammers 2 is apparently going to have online.
Yeah, Windjammers 1 had online, but...
Oh, did it?
I think so. But I think it was a PlayStation.
The re-release version.
Yeah,
right?
not the one for fucking.
Not the Neo Geo version.
Yeah.
But Lizard Cube did a really great job with the and Dotemu published the Wonder Boy remake as well. But Lizard Cube did the development, and then Guard Crush, who did Streets of Fury, which, if I remember correctly, the Giant Bomb crew liked quite a bit for being one of those, side-scrolling beat 'em up. They're working on it as well. So it's basically like Dotemu's publishing, and Lizard Cube and Guard Crush are actually developing Streets of Rage 4. So, and then so there's a couple of retro-flavored, almost retro things that are coming to the Switch as well that we found out about this week, which is the 6-player version of Towerfall that we had a lot of fun playing a couple weekends ago when everybody was here.
Yes.
It's coming to the Switch with some additional content. The girl that you play as in Celeste apparently is a playable character. I'm not really totally sure what the connection is there.
But I mean, it's the same people made Celeste.
It is the same developer.
Towerfall, so that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. And then Samurai Gun 2 is coming to Switch, and apparently it has like a co-op, like actual like it's not just a versus thing, but there's a game that you can play through and do it co-op, and it's all Samurai Gun-ish, which sounds cool. I like Samurai Gun. And
I like calling in this cop car to shoot a fucking
to fire a rocket at these criminals.
Like a napalm rocket.
Yeah. Love the smell of napalm in the morning. It smells like victory.
It's not morning time.
That's true.
It's morning like somewhere. Really early, like 1 a.m. maybe. It could be that.
You should only trust your fists. The blaze will never help you.
You should also trust that metal baseball bat. Oh wait, no, it disappeared, so maybe you shouldn't trust it.
Can't hit this lady.
But,
so what was there some other retro thing that you mentioned before?
There was another retro thing before we started. So they just announced this week.
This is like this is no longer like Genesis or Genesisn't is dead. This is just like our 30-minute retro video game podcast.
Yeah, right. There was an announcement this week that the guy who had worked on this before as a sort of hobby project is now making available to purchase from him a machine that will let you, with the help of a Wii remote, play old light gun games on new TVs.
Cool.
So
that works. That's really excellent news.
Yeah. So you can either just use a Wii remote with some of them, like I'm probably gonna get one of those Nyko perfect shot like gun shells for a Wii remote, because I'm gonna buy this thing obviously.
I don't know. You know, if you have to use a Wii remote though, and you can't use a gun con.
Well, so that was what I was gonna say. The other way you can do it is there's a universal adapter, and you have to like strap a Wii remote to the side of your GunCon, Sega Stunner, and Nintendo Zapper or whatever, because the IR sensor. And then some people have already suggested, like, what if you made like a small like Wii style IR sensor that you could fit on the end of any of your old light guns instead of having to strap a Wii remote to the side of them. Because that's not super ideal, right? But it will work that way. And apparently, with this universal adapter that he's making, it should hypothetically work on any old system. But he's got specialized cables for the Master System, NES, and something else.
PlayStation?
Yeah, I think
if it's PlayStation's the only one I care about, because the only light gun game that I really want to play again is Point Blank and Point Blank 2. Like, there's other... that one's not so great. That's the one with, like, the weird RPG shit in it, right? I don't know.
I think so, yeah.
I don't remember.
Point Blank and Point Blank 3, but I haven't played them in a long time for what I imagine.
Point Blank is my all-time favorite light gun game.
It's a pretty good game.
Nothing else is even really That's number 1, and nothing else is really that close, actually.
Really? Not even
Yeah.
like Time Crisis or...
Yeah, I mean, Time Crisis 2 is
Crisis
fine
2.
if you have the guns with like the force feedback on them. That's the one, but I still would rather. I played like hundreds of hours of Point Blank, I think, when it came out, just like practicing over and over and over again.
Oh, that's something you have in common with my sister. She loved the shit out of Point Blank.
Because it got like that was one of the few games that got to the point where I was so much better. Like I couldn't get anybody to play with me because it wasn't fun.
It wasn't fun for them.
Yeah.
Because that one leaf would fall down and you'd shoot.
And
it
I'd
right
shoot it instantly. Yes, exactly. Or I'd shoot the apple off the head of the. I can't remember what those guys' names are.
Dr. Dan and Dr. Don.
Yeah.
They have sillier names in Japanese. I don't remember what they are. But those two Muppets.
That is a great one-up sprite. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the best thing about this game.
I don't know about that, but
The soundtrack
the
is very
soundtrack.
good. Yeah. This game is fine. Let's go. I'll go into my judgment phase here because I'm gonna play Streets of Rage 2 for 5 minutes.
Okay.
But yeah, this game is totally fine. Like it's a totally fine like this is basically Double Dragon, except that has like a dedicated jump button, which makes it, I guess, in some ways
That
better. But
helps. Well, the arcade version of Double Dragon had a dedicated jump button.
true. But I don't know if I spent anyway. Regardless.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should say very quickly. The name of that thing is the Light Gunverter.
Okay.
Get it? And if you go to lightgunverter.com, you can order. They're supposed to come out in December, but you can pre-order them now. They're $90.
Cool.
So I haven't purchased mine yet, but I certainly.
I think I would wait to see if it actually. I would want to hear some word of mouth about how well it actually works before I bought one. But
Sure.
that's cool that that exists. That's very exciting.
Yeah. So, but you were saying comparing this to Double Dragon, and I think Streets of Rage 2.
This is pretty simple compared to Streets of Rage 2, or even
Yeah.
like Final Fights or whatever. And also, I don't like there's something fucked up with all this character sprites that I don't really like, and like the way that guy's holding the knife by not holding it, it's just like attached.
Right.
Yeah, but this is an old
It's
ass Genesis game, so
The sprites are a lot smaller and less detailed in this one than they are in 2.
yeah. This is a fine first attempt at making a beat 'em up, but the enemy design is a little boring and whatever. It's fine. It's fine. You can play this. You should play this to get an appreciation for the giant leap forward that they took when they released.
I mean, it was basically meant to be a Final Fight, to show up the Super Nintendo port of Final Fight, right? Near as we can tell. They did come out pretty close together, so there's a certain amount of that I'm kind of dubious on.
Yeah.
But I think, it functions that way whether
Final
or not
Fight.
it was actually a
It's a
direct.
pretty good one of those.
The Sega CD version is arguably the best. I don't even know if it's arguable. The Sega CD version is the best home port of Final Fight. Just like having an emulated version dropped onto a disc.
Oh man. I'm almost positive I've played this at least once before on Genesis or Genesisn't.
It feels like it.
Oh my god. The music in this game is so fucking good, man. Anyway.
I mean, both of the third one, I feel like Koshiro might have slightly phoned it in.
Yeah.
It's not quite up to snuff, but the first two soundtracks are super good.
Dunk.
Clap, clap. Yeah, actually, you definitely have played this because we made jokes about the Alien Funhouse and like what's the Go Baseball or whatever that it
Yeah.
says on the fences. So
I don't remember why I played it, but you don't really need you don't need much of an excuse to play Streets of Rage 2.
That's true. That's true. And I mean, I love that it's a time capsule of when like rollerblades were a cool thing, or even a novel thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, man, what a huge leap from Streets of Rage 1 to Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah.
And everything, the way it looks, the way it feels. I can double tap and run. Like,
Only Skate can double tap and run.
that's why you play as Skate.
Yeah, but Max can like atomic drop
Sucks.
people to death.
Whatever happened to Axel's car?
Anyway, that's Streets of Rage.
It got smashed by Cody and Mike Hagar.
It's pretty good. It's no Streets of Rage 2, though.
But he doesn't know that, so he's always going around asking, "Where's my car?"
Just like even the animation when Skate uses this pipe because he's so small, right? Just like he has a hard time swinging it, a little sweat
Yeah.
comes off of this. It's so good.
Yeah.
Also, this game really moves. Like, one of the biggest problems with a lot of beat 'em ups is that, like, you just get like into this, where you're just like in the same areas for like a very long time, fighting the same dudes for what feels like ever.
Yeah.
And this game just like fucking rolls, man. Anyway, that's it for this week. Genesis or Genesisn't? Streets of Rage 2 Genesis, baby. What did you do that
What
on?
about Streets of Rage though?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Play that first for 10 minutes before you play this, so that way you can have a proper appreciation.
It Genesis mine.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll be back sometime on something else.
Genesis.
Streets of Rage 3.
Genesis exist.
Look at this headbutt. Anyway, bye.